Welcome to English Story Lab, where we learn English through stories you can actually picture. Here is how to use this episode. Listen once just for the story, let the pictures form in your mind, and don't stop for the words you miss. Then listen again for the phrases, 8 useful expressions we will slow down and explain in 2 spotlight breaks. Today's tale is a dark one, adapted from Edgar Allan Poe. A man swears, again and again, that he is perfectly sane. And yet, in the same calm breath, he confesses to murder. Why did he do it? What finally broke him? Turn down the lights, breathe slowly, and listen closely. Some sounds, once you have heard them, you can never unhear. True, I was nervous, terribly nervous, and I am nervous still. But mad? No. Madness dulls the senses, mine had only grown sharper. Let me tell it calmly, and you will see how sane I am. I loved the old man. He had never wronged me, never insulted me. I wanted nothing he owned, not his gold, not his house. It was his eye, yes, that was it. One of his eyes was pale and filmy, clouded over with a cold blue film like the eye of a vulture. The thought of it would not leave me. It grew, it fed on me, hour by hour. Whenever it fell upon me, my skin crawled and my nerves drew tight. It kept me on edge day and night, until at last I made up my mind. The eye had to go, and the man with it. Now this is the part that proves my clear mind. For 7 long nights, in the dead of night, I crept to his door. I turned the latch so slowly that a full hour might pass before my head slipped inside. I moved as a shadow moves, without sound, deep in the dead of night. Would a madman be so patient, so careful? Each night I watched the sleeping man, quietly, lovingly, letting the lantern light fall softly upon his closed lids. But the eye was always closed, and so I could not do the work. It was not the old man I hated, you understand. It was that eye. On the 8th night my hand slipped, the hinge gave a small dry creak, and there in the black room my blood ran cold. I froze as I waited. Had he woken? He sprang up in bed and cried, "Who's there?" I stood frozen in the dark, saying nothing for a whole hour. He did not lie down. He sat there, listening as I had listened, night after night, to the small sounds of the walls. I could feel his fear filling the black room like cold water. Then I heard it, a low, dull, quick sound like a watch wrapped in cotton. It was his heart beating with terror. Steady, steady, it grew louder, louder every second, until I feared a neighbor might hear it through the wall. My own calm never wavered. I threw open my lantern, and the pale eye stared back at me. In that moment, without a flicker of pity, in cold blood, I did the thing I had come to do. And then silence, or so I believed. Let's pause and catch 4 phrases from the first half. First, on edge. If you are on edge, you feel nervous and tense, ready to jump at the smallest thing. The eye kept our narrator on edge. Next, in the dead of night. This means the deepest, darkest, quietest part of the night, the hour when he crept to the door. Third, my blood ran cold. When a sudden rush of fear grips you, your blood runs cold. His did when the hinge creaked. And finally, in cold blood. To do something in cold blood is to do it coldly and deliberately, with no emotion and no mercy, exactly how he describes the deed. 4 phrases down. Now, back into the dark. I worked quickly and I worked wisely. I took up 3 boards from the floor of his chamber, laid everything beneath them, then set the boards back so neatly that no eye, not even his, could have found a thing out of place. I had worked through the small hours, patient and cool, catching every drop, missing nothing. No stain, no mark, nothing to wash away. I had been so clever, so thorough, that I was safe beyond doubt. Nothing could point to me now. So when a knock came at the street door, just as the clock struck 4, I went down light-hearted, for what had I to fear? 3 officers stood waiting. A neighbor, they said, had heard a shriek in the night, and they had come to look through the house. I welcomed them in with a smile. The shriek, I said, was my own. A bad dream had startled me from sleep. The old man was away in the country. I showed them through the house and told them to search well. I even led them to his chamber and set out chairs upon the very boards beneath which he lay, and sat myself directly above his resting place. I was so sure of myself, so calm, so bold, that I felt no danger of giving myself away. Not a look, not a word, would give me away. We sat, we talked of pleasant things. I answered easily, cheerfully. The officers were satisfied, they suspected nothing at all. And yet, little by little, I began to feel unwell, a faint ringing in my ears that would not stop, though I tried to talk it away. The ringing grew clearer, no longer in my ears but in the room. A low, dull, quick sound like a watch wrapped in cotton. I knew that sound. I had heard it once before on the 8th night. It was the beating of a heart. It grew quicker now and louder, hammering up through the boards into the soles of my feet. I talked faster, louder, but the sound rose with me. I stood, I paced, I dragged my chair across the boards. Still it grew, louder, louder, always louder. A cold sweat broke upon my brow, and my breath came short. Could they not hear it? They talked on, smiling at their ease. Impossible. They must hear it. They must know. I felt myself beginning to lose my grip, reason itself slipping from my hands, my thoughts scattering like startled birds. Louder, louder. The sound was a hammer now, filling the room, filling my skull, beating in time with my own racing pulse. They were mocking me, they had to be. Their smiles, their calm, their easy talk, all a cruel game, while beneath us the heart thundered on. I could bear it no longer. Anything, any confession, was better than this endless drumming. I sprang to my feet, wild and shaking, and screamed at them to stop pretending. I admit it, I cried. I did it, tear up the boards, here, here. It is the beating of his hideous heart. And so, undone by a sound only I could hear, I came clean at last. Better to come clean, I thought, than to bear that pounding one moment more. Was it his heart, drumming beneath the floor, or only my own at last? 4 more phrases before we close. Beyond doubt means completely certain, with no room for question. Our narrator believed he was safe beyond doubt. To give yourself away is to reveal your secret by accident, through a look, a word, or a nervous move. He was sure he would not give himself away. To lose your grip is to lose control of your mind or feelings, as he did when the sound returned, his grip on reason slipping away. And to come clean is to finally confess the truth you have been hiding. In the end, the heart he could not silence made him come clean. Notice how each phrase carries the story's fear inside it. So was our narrator ever truly sane? He insisted he was, even as he confessed to a cold and careful murder. He hid the old man beneath the floor, welcomed the police with a smile, and then unraveled at a sound that may have lived only in his own guilty mind. 3 quick questions to test your listening. 1. What was it about the old man that the narrator could not stand? 2. How many nights did he watch the old man sleep before the deed? And 3. What sound finally made him confess? Say your answers out loud or write them in the comments. The best practice is the kind you do without even noticing. Thank you for listening to the end of this dark little tale. If your nerves can take one more, we have another story waiting in the dark, a lone operator on a deep space night shift, and a signal that keeps repeating from somewhere that should be empty. Let it play next. And if these stories help your English grow, subscribe and follow English Story Lab so a new one finds you every week. Sleep well tonight, and try not to listen too hard to your own quiet heartbeat.